Our efforts to reduce disproportionality in terms of student suspension really stemmed from a process that our staff, families, and members of our community engaged in terms of determining what is our vision at United for Success Academy, what is our mission, what is our purpose for existing as a school. And so we landed on our entire mission for existing here at United for Success is to interrupt the inequities that exist in our communities by ensuring that all of our students are academically and socially prepared for success in high school and beyond. And with that came a lot of reflection and dialogue about what are the inequities that prevail in our communities and where do we contribute as part of the problem as opposed to part of the solution. And so one of the areas of focus that we landed on was suspensions and how we determined who was suspended and our process that really mirrored the criminal justice system. And so when we reflected on that, we identified that we were only doing suspensions as a way of consequences because that's what we knew. So zero tolerance was what we had been told, we had been sold on that, and when we really stopped and reflected on what do we believe in, we realized that that's not what we believed in, and when we were introduced to the concepts of restorative justice, we identified that that was something that we as a school wanted to take on, and had been talking about it for a little bit and beginning to make some changes. But I think our process in engaging in our revisioning and identifying our mission really pushed us to the point where it was an intentional change with structures and systems in place to support it. And so our initial purpose was say, let's not suspend kids anymore, but we also realized that when you're transitioning to something different, people don't necessarily know what you're doing, and so there's a sense of you're letting kids get away with everything, and so we wanted to kind of give ourselves some time to transition to a place where where suspension isn't our go-to consequence or our go-to next step when a child commits a mistake or makes a mistake. So when you look at our suspension data in comparison from last year to this year, we have drastically reduced the number of, not only of number of days that students are missing, but also the number of offenses for which students are being suspended. Last year, for example, the number of days kids missed as a result of suspension was about over 350, and this year we're looking at about 180, which is still high, but it's a significant change from what we were doing in the past. And so this year, by simply doing what we committed to doing, which is we're not suspending for disruption or defiance, because we felt like we have the capacity to intervene and identify and talk to kids and help through with other restorative justice processes such as circles and engaging in dialogue with kids, that we weren't going to suspend for disrupting defiance, valid authority of school personnel, which I think often we abuse it when we aren't sure of what to do. And it's changed the concept of getting in trouble. So it's not, if you go tell somebody you're going to get in trouble. We haven't completely eliminated the middle school concept of snitching, but we've definitely seen an increase of students coming to different adults on campus asking for help and I need to resolve this conflict, as opposed to taking it out in a violent way or setting up fights. So you definitely see a sense of an increase of students taking ownership of the school.